And today is September 23rd, and we are here at the Hilo Council Chambers, and we're reconvening the Committee on Public Safety and Mass Transit from September 6th. So we recessed, and now we're reconvening. I'd like to ask everyone to turn off your cell phones or other communication devices, or put them to the silent mode, please. We already took the public testimony, so I want to recap on where we're at. But before I recap, I want to introduce the members. To my far right, Councilmember Elegant. Councilmember Kern is excused and will be joining us very soon. Councilmember Kanuha, Councilmember Eoff, Councilmember Yoshimoto, Councilmember Ford. To my left is Councilmember Onishi and Councilmember Wille, and I am chairing this committee, Valerie Poindexter. So what happened is we took public testimony, then we read in both bills. We read in 109 and 113 the last time on September 6th. So what happened there was a motion was made on Bill 109. A motion to approve Bill 109 was made and seconded. We had a discussion, which we were able to discuss both bills, 109 and 113. We voted on Bill 109, which at that time failed. Then we read, we motioned in, so there's a motion, a live motion on the floor to approve Bill 113, and it was moved by Councilmember Wille and seconded by Councilmember Eoff. Then we recessed because we're going to go into discussion. So at this time, we're going to open it up for discussion on the Bill 113, but I believe that, did you have a...
I have a point of procedure, actually, Madam Chair.
Okay.
If I may. Okay. Madam Chair, at this time I move to table Bill 113 for the purpose of addressing a procedural matter with respect to 109.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me explain real briefly for the council members. Basically, when we had the motion to approve Bill 109. What we should have done is made a motion to refer the bill to the Department of, the Environmental Management Commission. So we actually voted on a motion to approve, which is procedurally incorrect. So the motion to table 113 would be to fix what we did on 109. At that point, we would do a reconsideration of 109, and then we would make the correct motion.
Okay, so do I have a motion to...
We're going to vote on the table.
Okay, yeah, we're going to vote on the table.
Or discussion, if you...
So is there any discussion for tabling Bill 113? Go ahead. Councilmember Wille? On the table.
We voted 109 down.
Correct.
And so we voted it down, so I don't see that there's any reason why we would be referring it when we voted it down.
I can explain.
Okay, I'd let Councilmember Yoshimoto explain.
Pursuant to county code, that was wrong, what we did. We needed to actually refer it to the our Environmental Management Commission first for their review and comment. And so, technically speaking, our vote on that is invalid because we didn't follow the county code. So that's why we want to table this to clean that up first and then move forward on 113. So this tabling would just be for until we finish discussing it.
Any on the tabling, Councilmember Eoff?
Yes, I'd like to just confirm with Chair Yoshimoto, if we do not vote to refer Bill 109 to the commission, then what happens?
Then it dies.
Then the bill dies.
Right.
And we have that option is to not refer it to the department.
Yeah, that's the council's prerogative, as far as what we want to do. But anyway, I don't want to discuss that. I just want to discuss the motion to table first,
That's
and then
what
we
we
stay
were-
on track.
Okay.
So any other discussion on the motion to table? Okay, so I guess we can do a voice. Is that okay to do a voice vote? Everybody's okay. I think.
No.
Okay. So let's. Can we do a roll call vote then, Madam Clerk? Thank you.
Ms. Eoff? Aye. Ms. Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Elegant?
No.
Mr. Onishi? Aye. Ms. Poindexter?
Aye.
Ms. Wille?
No.
Mr. Yoshimoto?
Aye. Myself.
Chair Poindexter? You
I
have,
already voted, but aye.
Me.
Mr. Kanuha, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Chair Poindexter, you have 6 ayes.
Okay, so we're tabling the motion.
Bill 113.
Bill 113 is tabled. We're now, looking, I guess, for a motion to reconsider Bill 109.
Yes, move to reconsider Bill 109.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Yoshimoto and seconded by Councilmember Ford to reconsider Bill 109. Councilmember Yoshimoto?
Okay, so right now what we're doing is we're voting to reconsider 109. A positive vote for the reconsideration brings 109 back to life, and then we can make the appropriate motion that we talked about as far as referring the bill to the Environmental Management Commission. Of course, then a negative vote says no, and then we just, well, go on without doing the correct thing. So I would say vote yes, please.
Councilmember Ford?
Thank you. I'll be supporting this reconsideration. Obviously, I believe in following the rules of procedure and the codes of the county. So I am going to ask that the council vote yes for the reconsideration. We can deal with the next step right after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion to reconsider? Seeing none, I'm going to ask Madam Clerk if you could do a roll call vote again, please.
Ms. Eoff?
Aye.
Ms. Ford?
Aye.
Mr. Ilagan?
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha?
Aye.
Mr. Onishi? Ms. Wille? Ms. Yoshimoto? Chair Poindexter?
Aye.
Chair Poindexter, you have 8 ayes.
Okay, so Bill 109 is now back on the table. Discussion, Councilmember Yoshimoto.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this time I move to refer Bill 109 to the Director of Environmental Management
And the commission.
and the Commission.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, moved by Councilmember Yoshimoto and seconded by Councilmember Ford to refer it to the Environmental Management and Commission. Councilmember Ford?
Thank you. I will be supporting the correct move to send this to the Environmental Management Commission. I think it's appropriate that we get input from them, since in my Bill 109, they would be the enforcement arm. You know, we can always kill a bill later on, but I think it's very important that they have some input on this, since the Department of Environmental Management is specifically the enforcement. I know that you can vote this down and not send it over there, but that's an inappropriate move. And I would hope that each of you would consider what your constituents have been saying. 90% of them are saying that they want GMO to be banned. And I think that it's very important that we not only follow the codes and the rules and the laws, but that we also listen to our constituents. And so I'm asking this council, it's not going to hurt us to send this over to environmental management, because once it gets to council, you can kill it if you need to. We're going to get one of these bills passed, and I believe it'll be Margaret's, but let's do this the right way. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on the motion to refer to Environmental Management and the Environmental Management Commission? Councilmember Wille?
I don't think it's the right way. We have 2 bills. I think that's awkward and confusing, and I think that we ought to focus on 113, which was the revision of Bill 79, the first bill, and move that through and not be pursuing 2 tracks. It's complex enough, and just focus on what we want to do. If there are ways that you, as council members, want to change 113, that's what we're here to listen to and work together. I don't want 2 tracks. It'll go over to, what we're looking at is the enforcement arm. If Bill 109 were to pass, the approach of this council was to not pursue 109. So I just think it again starts getting things confused. I don't think it's a matter of not listening to the constituents. We need to get something done and through, and I think that we ought to keep this simple, look at it, if there are amendments to 113, do that, and not start opening this up, and now we're going to have 2 bills tracking again. Thank you.
Councilmember Eoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Ms. Wille, and I believe that we are taking care of a procedural error right now where we needed to have that motion taken care of to refer Bill 109 to the Environmental Management Commission. So I think at this point, if what Mr. Yoshimoto had stated earlier is true, then by voting no on the referral, we would effectively be back to where we were started this morning, which is to have Bill 113 on the table for discussion. And as Margaret or Ms. Wille has stated, I too think that it's awkward to have the two bills, so I would rather focus on Ms. Wille's Bill 113 and any amendments that are brought forward, and in fact things that Ms. Ford thinks is important could be brought forward for consideration in the discussion. So I would suggest that we vote no on referring this to the Environmental Management Commission. Thank you.
Councilmember Ford.
Mr. Ashida, would you come forward, please? Mr. Ashida, I would like you to explain, after you introduce yourself, what the laws, codes, rules, whatever, are on these referrals. I don't want the council members to make a mistake and do something wrong. And if I'm incorrect, so be it. We'll all stand corrected. Thank you.
Good morning, members of the council. Lincoln Ashida, Corporation Counsel. I think what Mr. Yoshimoto proposed is appropriate under our code. This was a requirement that was written into the code last term. You're talking about the referral to the DEM, correct? Yeah. I believe that's, it's, if you ask, I'm going to tell you 10 times out of 10, take the high road, follow the requirements of the code. It's as simple as that.
Thank you. I would like to point out that if the council members vote against sending this to the Environmental Management Commission and Director, then you're violating the code. Please don't do that.
Councilmember Eoff.
Well, is that what you said, Mr. Ashida? I mean, if we vote no and it does not get referred to the commission, are we violating the code, or does that mean that the bill effectively dies?
Well, the thing is, you could, just because a bill dies doesn't mean that you don't violate the code. I think, like I said, I don't want to go on record saying that you are violating the code, but I'm saying that what I'm suggesting is a simple, harmless, painless thing to do is follow what Chair Yoshimoto is recommending, and there's no question that you've complied with the requirements of the code.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to... Oh, do you want to clarify something, Councilmember Yoshimoto?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, so Mr. Ashida, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. So, in the code provision that we're referencing, that
I want to see the...
Yeah, why don't we get a copy of the code so we all know what we're...
So we're going to take a
Recess.
5-minute recess.
On all legislation relating to the functions and duties of the department, including any ordinance to amend Chapter 20 or Chapter 21 of this code, to the council prior to council action. And so, actually, Ms. Ford is amending Chapter 14. She's adding a new section. Anyway, council members, so, as I read this, it says shall and all. So, yeah, I'll pass it down to Ms. Wille. So, when our Corporation Counsel was up here, the indication was that it's a shall, and I think he is correct. So, that's for council members' information. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask for Councilmember Onishi didn't speak yet, so I'm going to ask Councilmember Onishi.
Okay, thank you. This is a question to Mr. Yoshimoto, if I can.
Sure.
So as
Can you speak in your mic?
As you mentioned, it's for 20 and 21.
Correct. That's what it says there.
Yes.
Ms. Willie has the, show it
Can
to
you
Mr.
please give
Onishi.
that back to Mr. Yoshimoto?
Okay.
Can I read it or just read it?
Let me pass it back to Councilmember Yoshimoto, because the question is from
Point of order.
Councilmember, yes.
Can we all get copies of
Yeah,
this?
we'll get copies
Okay.
of it.
Can I request for a recess?
Okay, so I'm going to recess for
Right,
2
right.
minutes, nobody move, just somebody go get us copies. So we're in recess for 2 minutes.
I had my hand up, and then you let,
Let's get,
Ms. Poindexter's favorite.
Laura? Okay. I'm calling this meeting back to order. We now each have the code here. So, Councilmember
I still have the floor.
Onishi, you had the floor. I'm asking Councilmember Yoshimoto a question.
Yeah, okay. So as I was mentioning, so it states here that an ordinance to amend Chapter 20 or Chapter 21 of the code to councils prior to council action. So that means we not supposed to have discussed anything, right? We're supposed to just refer that bill directly to. But then now, this is like what you mentioned, like what, Chapter 4 or 14?
Can I?
Yeah, so can you maybe define?
A couple of things. It says here on all legislation relating to the functions and duties of the department, comma, including any ordinance to amend 20 and 21. So I don't think it's
Okay.
limiting you to that.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then when it says prior to council action, a council action is when we affirmatively do something to it.
Right.
We didn't amend it as far as I recall or anything. We may have tried, but.
we did amend it.
Oh, we did amend it? Oh.
We didn't? Okay.
The amendment failed, as I recall. So anyway, so I don't think we actually took
Tried.
any action.
I tried.
Right. So I think we're still on solid ground right now.
Okay.
So but I do think it's a shall.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Willie?
yeah, John Hendricks, can you come up, please? Again, I would prefer not to have two bills running, but if it is the way if we are required to do this, obviously I will support that. But what, in your experience, in other situations where there was a referral, has the council voted it down and just said, we don't want to pursue this? Or what is your experience on other circumstances where this language exists in other contexts?
Excuse me, point of order? First of all, while I have the utmost respect for John and his memory of past actions, it doesn't matter what we did in the past. We have to deal with just this bill. and he's also not an attorney. We have Corporation Counsel here, so I think you're asking the question of the wrong person.
Okay, I disagree with
Okay.
Lincoln Ashida's, and I would like to know, and as he said, he wants to do this out of precaution. He's not saying that it's wrong. If he said, no, I hold, this is categorically, we're wrong, that would be different. We're trying to look at something that's somewhat ambiguous and decide what way to go. I don't want to spend a lot of time and get to the vote, but I do want to know what's happened in the past with similar analogous situations.
John Henricks, Legislative Research Branch. I don't really know if there's an analogous situation because the only thing that comes close to it is what's required in our zoning code for similar situations, that we have to refer legislation that amends the zoning code to the director of the planning department and the appropriate or both planning commissions. However, we also have distinct rules in our rule book that says if such a motion to refer fails, then the legislation essentially is no longer valid. It, quote unquote, dies at that point. We don't have that written into our rules regarding Section 2-207. The language is similar to Chapter 25, but it doesn't mean that it has the exact same impact. So with that in mind, I would definitely defer to the Corporation Counsel and the advice that is provided to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other discussion? Councilmember Elegant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm gonna support this referral, and I also want to read this out because I feel it's important for the public to know. After the sentence that Councilmember Yoshimoto read, it also reads that comments and recommendations shall be provided to the council within 45 days of receipt. In the event that the commission fails to act within the 45-day review period, such an action shall be considered as an unfavorable recommendation. So I just want to let you know it's not going to be stalled. There's a 45-day wait, and I just want the public to know that. Thank you.
Councilmember Kanuha.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ashida, can you explain what is considered council action?
I'm not sure. And the reason is because of the way that it's worded. And that's why I think it's important to defer to Mr. Yoshimoto, Ms. Ford, and Mr. Onishi, because they were here when this legislation was passed. If there's any ambiguity in the legislation, we always go to the legislative history. Okay. I think it takes council action to pass something. I also think it takes council action to kill something, right? I mean...
Does it also take council action to refer something?
That's yes, absolutely. And also there's even a further, I hate to say ambiguity, but question. Is it council action? Is it committee action? You know, all I'm saying is I think what Mr. Yoshimoto has suggested is it's harmless. It eliminates any ambiguity or question that you've complied with the requirements of this code section. That's all I'm saying. I can't say John's right. I can't say I'm right. Can't say he's wrong or I'm wrong. But it's cheap insurance like we talk about in the past. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. I'm going to call on Councilmember Nishi first. You sure?
Yeah,
because that was
fine.
your second.
No.
Okay. Councilmember Yao.
I just wanted to thank you for clarifying what we were seeing as ambiguous. And I think given what you've said and thinking about it, we can refer it to the commission then and still move forward today on discussion on Bill 119 and see what happens with that, and while we're waiting to hear back from the commission.
I'm glad you feel that way because after talking about it, I've confused myself.
Yeah,
now.
no, I could go either way. I felt strongly at first because I just didn't want to give the commission extra work or continue to have to deal with two bills. But given what you've said and the questions raised, I think maybe that is our best option. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Onishi.
Thank you. This is not really about what we're discussing, but I just wanted to let council members know that like when you read the code, how, sometimes it should be specified really real clearly on what they mean. And so when we listen to, today on other bills that will be coming up, how we should be specifying directly so that the council members in the future knows what we're talking about, and also the public will know what we're talking about. So just a thought that council members, when we do discussions later on, to think about. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Councilmember Kanuha.
The issue that I have with this, I don't want to go on and on, but is that I basically can't vote no. And that's what I have an issue about. So I just want to state that for the record that, yeah, we are going to send this to the Environmental Management Commission, but based off of what our Corporation Counsel has said and our other council members, I basically can't vote no to not send this to the Environmental Commission. So I just want to state that for the record.
Okay, any other discussion? Councilmember Wille.
I just want to say I agree with Councilmember Kanua. I'm not sure why it even comes to us if we don't have a vote. It should just be something automatic. Otherwise, I think we do have a vote. I will support it based on, let's move things forward, and I wanted to just avoid confusion and complexity, but I don't want to, based on all of the recommendations, I will support this.
Thanks.
Without having any choice to do otherwise, supposedly.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no discussion, I'm just going to give my comment on this. And I think it's something that we've learned from, because if we all remember when the bill first came through, a GMO bill first came through, and that Margaret presented, and I think it was like Bill 79, was it? Okay. When it first came through, we did have some type of communication from our Corp Counsel saying that, if I remember correctly, that we wouldn't have the right to vote on it, or we shouldn't have, it should be, forwarded to the Environmental Management Department and the Environmental Management Commission. So I remember that. It's unfortunate that it didn't happen that way, and I feel that maybe we shouldn't have even discussed that 109 at that time and just referred to that in our code. We would have saved a lot of time, but it's lessons learned. So now we move forward. So Deputy Clerk, sorry, Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call vote on the motion? It's a motion to refer Bill 109 to the Department of Environmental Management and the Environmental Management Commission.
Thank you, Ms. Eoff.
Aye.
Mr. Ulagon.
Aye.
Ms. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Kanuha.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi. Aye. Ms. Wille. Aye. Mr. Yoshimoto. Ms. Poindexter.
Aye.
Ms. Poindexter, you have 8 ayes.
Okay, so Bill 109 is now referred to the Department of Environmental Management and the Environmental Management Commission. So I want to ask